All right, everybody, we're live right out here at the George Floyd Memorial Statue, and I got Mr. Terrence Robinson of Jack Yates class in 1997.
Yes, sir.
All right, and Terrence, we're talking about the Jack Yates annual football drive that we're doing here in the summer of this summer, 2025, and it's going to be the first anniversary of this.
Correct.
But let me go, and do you mind if I talk about some of the history that we do?
No,
About the
please do.
Jack Yates football program,
Please
which
do.
started back in 1926 when the school opened up, and the principal was Mr. James D. Ryan, and he hired no other than Mr. William Holler to be over the football program. Because see, Mr. Ryan used to be a principal at Colored High, and when they opened up Jack Yates, they had Mr. Ryan to come there. But see, Mr. Ryan really wanted to get Mr. Lockett, which was the football coach at Colored High, which later on became Booker T. But Mr. Lockett did not want to leave Colored High. He wanted to stay over there with Mr. Appleton. So anyway, make a long story short, Mr. Ryan went and opened up Jack Yates in 1926. And he had to go and find him a football coach and an athletic coach. And that's when he went to Gary, Indiana. And he brought in Mr. William Holland to be the Jack Yates first football coach. Now, when Mr. Holland took over the football program in 1926, then 14 years later, Mr. Holland passed, so he had to get a football coach because he got to be the principal. And that's when he went and got Coach Pat Patterson in 1940. Now, and they started state championship, which was the UIL. They started back in the 1940 when they really started having a state championship. And then in 1949, Coach Andrew Pat Patterson, he won the Triple Crown, Terrence. That means he won state champion in football, baseball, and basketball.
Oh, you bad man.
And so then, but before then, Terrence, Jack Yates had won the state championship in 49 and 51. And then later on, then when they moved over there to 3703 Sampson in September 1958, which that's the school me and you both graduated from.
Correct.
Okay, now Pat Patterson, the first championship team that come out of Jack Yates in 1962. Those are the guys that we're going to be honoring, Terrence, here at the alumni, Jack Yates alumni football, that annual that we doing this coming July the 27th,
The
right?
picnic. Yeah.
And it's the picnic right here at Adair Park.
Correct.
Okay, now we'll be honoring the 1962 state champion football team because they were the first one to win the state champion at 3703 Sampson.
Okay.
They was the first.
Okay.
And then in 1965, Coach Patterson then won it again. And then 30 years later, Coach Luther Booker came in and won the first UIL state championship. And before the 1985 HISD, the last time they had a UIL to win a state champion football team, that was in 1953.
Right.
And that was the UIL, which was segregated with the whites only. And that was with Lamar High School. And Mr. Fundering, Walter Fundering, who they named, his grandfather named their street Fundering after, was also on that football team. And the head drum majorette for Lamar High School was no other than Marvin Zindler, y'all.
Marvin.
Eyewitness News, Slime in the Ice Machine. Okay, that was Marvin Zindler, was the head drum majorette. That's why Marvin always knew how to twirl. Remember you seen Marvin twirling that baton?
Yeah, okay.
Because he was the head drum majorette at Lamar High School, which he came out of Bel Air. But see, Bel Air School was not open until the late 60s.
Okay.
Everybody that lived in Maryland and Bel Air, they had to go to Lamar High School because there wasn't no Bel Air High School then that time. But we're talking about Jack Yates and what it all means to us here on July the 27th, as I'm so thankful for the youth letting me come in as the old school part of the UIL to present these guys whose name have never been mentioned, and they need to be mentioned. And that is, thank goodness to you coming out with this, Terrence. You in the classes of the 1990s, I'm gonna let you explain that. You're the 1990s, will be able to accept the two state championships team of Jack Yates for 1962 and 1965. We will be presenting them with a certificate to showing them being part of the Jack Yates State football team for 1962 and 1965. Now, Coach Patterson had a heck of a staff because he had Raymond Daniels, John Tankersley, Coach Forrest Henry, also Coach Gibbs, and Coach Stewart. Now, some of the people that we want to be recognizing, they no longer here, but their family will be here, Terrence.
Okay.
To give out the certificate for them being part of the 1962 state championship of Jack Yates,
Right.
which was the first championship at 3703 Sampson. Mr. Sylvester Armstrong, may he rest in peace. Mr. Rome Nixon, he'll be here. Sylvester Jackson, Nathaniel Ray, and we're also bringing in Mr. Eddie Hughes' family. And we're going to make sure that Eddie Hughes and his family come in and get the certificate for Eddie Hughes being part of the 1962 state championship team, along with Sylvester Armstrong. His family will be there to let their family know that they are part of Jack Yates' history as far as football program is concerned.
Okay.
Now, also Mr. Melvin Kaya, and also Freddie Richardson, and James Sykes. And we also going to have Ure Hampton going to be there. He's still alive. He'll be there to accept his certificate. And James Sykes' family, we will try to get in touch with them, are all part of the 1962 Jack Yates State football team. And we'll be honoring, like I said, Mr. Eddie Hughes' family and Mr. Sylvester Armstrong family. But then in 1963, 64, they was state finalists. They won champion, Terrence. They was finalists.
Finals, okay.
But in 1965, Coach Patterson came in with John Tankersley, Raymond Daniels, and Coach Forrest Henry, Coach Gibbs, and Coach Stewart, and they became the 1965 state championship, and led by Mr. Leo Taylor, Larry Bedford, Otis Pointer, George Fountain, Richard Lewis, Lucius Blair, Kendall Ray Williams, Ron Reed, Reginald Williams, Larry Blackman, David Spotsfield, Larry Jenkins, Michael Lewis, also Robinson Parson, Clifton Johnson, Thurman Lamb. Thurman Lamb is Kendra Monica Lamb. You remember the girl that played basketball?
Yeah,
okay, they can. Mm-hmm. And then you got Charles Smith, Robert Thomas, and Willie Ray Smith, Adam Vital, Marvin Fletcher, Gordon Taylor, and also the trainer. We can't forget about him. And also Mr. Irvin Leroy Smith. He was part of the 1962 state championship team, and also he was part of the 1965 Jack Yates State championship team. That's Mr. Irvin Leroy Smith. We will have somebody in his family to accept that award. And now, as we talk about the time that we're going in right now, Terrence, tell us right now, it's your time to talk. I've been running my mouth telling you about the history. Now tell us about the future, which is the beginning of the integration and 1985 championship team, along with your good friend that you sitting right next to now,
right.
George Floyd.
George Floyd, call him Georgia, yeah.
Walk us through right now of the time that you got over to Yates and the time that you met George Floyd.
So I came into Yates in '93. Floyd was already, Floyd had graduated the year before I got there. Floyd played on the state team. My interaction with Floyd came in more of after Yates, Floyd coming up to our practices or us interacting kind of in the streets kind of a little bit. And Floyd and I just formed a bond over the years and became real good friends. As far as the 90s and my class and what we're trying to do for the 1990s era and all classes in general is start this annual football picnic, right? So this is something really, I know some years ago we did an all-class picnic, but right now this is a football picnic. This is something that was actually started by Coach McGowan when I was there. At the end of the football season, we would all always look forward to going out to Conroe or Spring area, and then we had a football picnic, and everybody was invited that played football, whether you were 9th grade all the way to 12th grade, right? And so that kind of carried on, and it kind of died out over the years, so we wanted to bring it back. Mm-hmm. So the JY 9-7, all we're doing is really just kind of reigniting the flame. It's not just for the class of 1997. That's what I want everybody to know. This is for all classes. If you played football at Yates, really, if you played any sport, we want you all involved. But it's the JY Football Picnic, first annual 2025 that we're starting at Adair Park. It's going to be July 27th from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Like I said, it's for all classes from the beginning of Jack Yates all the way until, if you're at Yates now and you're playing football or any sport, if you're in the band or whatever, come on out and enjoy it with us, kick it with us, represent the Crimson and Gold, represent and learn a little bit about your history, pay homage to the forefathers, the people who paved the way for JY. And just come out and have a good time. We're gonna have live DJs in the mix. Just to give you a little bit of insight, it's not just 9-7, right? So 9-7 got a lot of help from other classes. So class of 94 has been helping us out. Class of 1996, we appreciate you, love. They've been helping out with us. Class of 1980, my brother Bert Rodriguez that I worked with before. Brady Bob will be hosting the picnic. DJs will be class of 1992, DJ Griff. So it's a collaborative, right? So we just put it on there as JY host, brought to you by the JY POC, right? JY 9-7 POC, but that's just our position group, right? POC stand for Pick-Off Crew. We all play defense, defensive backs, and that's what we called our position group. And it's something that we wanted to do for all classes and reunite everybody and get this Crimson and Gold thing, or like some of our haters like to call us this ketchup and mustard thing. You know, they can't stand it, but get it all together as one and get everybody, you know, just kind of united and just have some fun at the park on the 27th. So come on out and kick it with us. Mr. Boo Lee Williams, it ain't a JY event unless you here with us. So I appreciate your support. And everybody else who paved the way for us, please be sure to spread the word and come out and join it.
You know, Terrence, you know, as I look back at this here, and you said a good part of the notorious 90s, which you guys are part of.
Correct.
See, we got an elite 80s.
Right.
We got a rockin' 70s.
Correct.
And then we got a soulful 60s.
Soulful 60s, yeah.
And then you got a fabulous 50s.
Right.
And then you got a trailblazers from the 40s.
Right on.
So you see, this thing had been passed right on through.
That's right.
And the reason why we call ourselves, which we are in the 60s, which was the last of the segregation, the last of the PBIL before they integrated. The reason why we were called the Soulful 60s, because everything was about soul. That was a word that you used. All black people were called soul brothers.
Soul brother.
All the black women were called soul sisters.
Yeah.
All the black mothers was called soul mothers.
Right on.
Soul fathers. And James Brown came in with the biggest one.
Yeah.
Soul brother number 1.
That's right. Right on.
And they even named the food after soul. What they call it? Soul food.
Soul food. That's right.
They even had a movie and a screenplay called Soul Food. All of it was about soul, because this is the era that Motown came in. Diana Ross, Supreme Temptation, on Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, on and on. And then after that, then in the 60s, then you had Otis Redding, Pop Staple, and then you had Johnny Taylor. Then you also had other good people like Isaac Hayes. All of them people came in the soulful 60s. And then you got the rockin' 70s. What can you say about the rockin' 70s? Because that's when R&B got to be famous. With the OJs, Harold Melvin and the Blue Note. The groups came in, the Spinners. All of that was part of the 70s. And then in the 80s, that's when you guys with the elite 80s came in. So it's good for you guys, the notorious 90s, to pick the torch up from the 80s.
Right.
But now we got the millennials coming in 2000.
Right.
Can they hold the torch that you guys are already carrying?
Yeah, and that's what the goal is, right? To bridge the gap. So when we first announced that we were bringing back the JY football picnic, we got a lot of good feedback, and we still been getting a lot of good feedback, and that's one of the main things that I was seeing in the reply to some of the messages was that thank you for bridging the gap, right? So they felt like it was a gap or an age gap between 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. So we want to bring everybody together as one. I don't care if you're from the 30s, the 40s, whatever. If you JY, you JY.
You're part
right?
of the family.
You part of the family. We bleed crimson and gold. We got DJs that's gonna be spinning music from the 50s all the way until now.
And and it's so good that you mentioned that. And we got to bring in these 2000 and 210s and these 220s.
That's right.
We got to bring them in.
Yeah.
And it's up to you 90s to get them, because us in the 80s, 70s, and 60s, we're a little bit too old for them. What they may call OG.
That's right.
Old gangsters.
That's right.
Old schools.
Yeah.
But it's up to you guys to bring in them 2000s so they can keep this torch going that have been going ever since the 40s.
Right.
And it's so good to know that we are trying to come together with a picnic for everybody,
right,
regardless of what you did or what you played, football, basketball, baseball, track, whatever you did for school, for Jack Yates. Even if you didn't participate in any athletic event, you still was a Jack Yates family.
That's right. And you are welcome.
And you are still welcome into everything that we give. We are not segregated.
That's right.
We are integrated to all of Jack Yates family. And people got to understand that it's got to bring in the gap. And what you, Terrence, and what you guys in the 90s are doing. And it's so good to be here next to George Floyd, because he's up in heaven, letting you know, carry this out, Terrence.
That's right.
I went to school with you, Terrence.
Yeah.
That's George Floyd talking to you.
That's right. Wish it could be.
You the one got to carry this out for our school. Not only for me, because the city have recognized me. That's why we sit next to his statue today.
That's right.
And they even got statues up in Boston, Massachusetts, where they really hate black folk.
Yeah.
But they got a picture of George Floyd.
That's right.
And we out here with your friend you went to school with. Because when you was at Yates, he was at Yates. You was just a junior or a sophomore.
Yeah, I was a freshman.
Freshman.
Yeah.
But still, again, you still was a part of the Jack Yates family with George Floyd.
Correct.
And we want to do this not only for George Floyd and the families of the 90s, but even the people in the 80s that was part of the 1985 state championship, which is the only undefeated HISD school that ever went to and win the state. The only somebody else won the state was in 1953, and they wasn't undefeated. They just didn't lose, but they had 2 games that they tied, and that was the Lamar Redskins.
Right.
But the only undefeated state championship that HISD ever had was in 1985, and that was Coach Luther Booker along with the 1985 state championship team. Yeah. And
straight dogs on that team.
And it was so good to honor Mr. Bailey.
That's right.
And some of the other people who made it possible with Coach Luther Booker. But Coach Luther Booker was a winner before he even got to Jack Yates. That's why Coach Patterson and Coach Forrest Henry recommended him to come to Jack Yates and told Joe Matussa to bring him in to be the Jack Yates football coach in 1974. And he would be the perfect match to carry on the Jack Yates legacy, and he did. In 1985, he became the only HISD school to go undefeated and win state championship. Amen. Luther Booker, Jack Yates football team in 1985, along with your man that you keep saying I love him to death, Mr. McGowan.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan is a man that I love. We recommend and love Mr. McGowan for everything he done, because he one that really helped train you guys so y'all could be ready to play football.
That's right.
For Luther Booker. Yeah. And I say this to say this about Mr. McGowan. I love him to death, but he came out of Acres Home with Sylvester Turner, and he went to MC Williams. Mm-hmm. And he played football for MC Williams, and then later on got a scholarship to Prairie View. And then later on, he joined Coach Luther Booker and the staff over at Jack Yates. And then later on, he became the girls' basketball team coach and won the first state championship for Jack Yates in 1982. And then 3 years later, Luther Booker won. He won the state football team for 1985. But the first state championship of UIL at Jack Yates was 1982 girls basketball team.
Okay.
And that was coached by Mr. McGowan. You know, I'm here to let everybody know the legacy of Jack Yates, because we're getting ready to go into the 100-year anniversary coming this school term, which will start in September 2025.
Man.
But that's the fall, but it goes right into 2026, in which, what is that? The Jack Yates. That everybody see it.
Yeah.
The Jack Yates, 1926, 100 years, 2026. Jack Yates family, we want to see your face in the place. And Mr. Terrence. Terrence, one other thing before I let you go.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of stuff. As such as I really like what you're wearing. Your Jack Yates football jersey. And I found out that you was telling me that you got a company that produce these and make these. Kind of
Yes,
give
sir.
us an idea before we let it go. And I'm going to get some displays of your uniforms or your jerseys and where they can buy it and what kind of link they can link into to get these jerseys. And they are so beautiful, man. Oh, I love the material.
I appreciate
That's the
it.
real Jack Yates stuff. Tell us,
sir.
Terrence, about this year jerseys that you are now selling at your company. Tell us about a little bit about the company.
Okay.
Terrence?
Yeah, sure. So the name of my company is called Impeccable Swagwear. So we specialize in custom jerseys, sportswear, athletic wear. So the JY97 pickoff crew, we started off by just doing a little base semi reunion just for our position group, right? And I did it as a tribute to the guys that I played ball with. I wanted to kind of just relive the glory days, right? And give them some jerseys to make them remember from when we played, when we were doing tour days and things like that. So I gave them the custom jerseys, their number with their name on the back, exactly identical to the jerseys that we wore when we played, right? But I just want everybody to know my company is called Impeccable Swagwear, and we customize the jersey to however the JY jersey looked when you played. My father graduated from Yates in '71. They wore the gold jerseys with the red numbers. We have those on the site. So if you go on to impeccableswagwear.com, and you will see that we got all of the current Yates jerseys, and then we have the throwbacks, the alternate jerseys, everything on there. You can order your jersey, you can put your name on the back, whatever name you want on it, whatever they call you, whatever your nickname was, or if you just want your government name on it. You can get it customized however you want. We got hats as well, snapbacks, bucket hats. We have Yates t-shirts as well that we've been promoting. You can get them done in any color that you want, any design that's actually on the site, and you can get those customized as well with your name on the back. Again, that site and the name of my company is called Impeccable Swagwear. The site is impeccableswagwear.com.
Really, Terrence, thank you so much, baby.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
we're
Williams.
gonna
It's a
we're gonna
pleasure.
make sure that we all come out and be able to support this first annual Jack Yates football program. And we're going to be also inducting some people out of the 62 state championship and the 65 state championship. And along with the state 1962, like I say, will be Eddie Hughes, Sylvester Armstrong, Earl Hampton, Rome Nixon, Lionel Williams family, Grady Cavis, Clarence Cooper, and Irvin Leroy Smith. And then in the 1965 people that are going to be inducted, Larry Blackman, Kenny Ray Williams, Roland Cotton, David Spotsfield, Larry Porter, Robert Thomas, Willie Ray Thomas, Thurman Lamb, Matthew Dupar, and along with the trainer, Malcolm Newsom. All of those will be going into the Jack Yates Hall of Fame football for 2025, and we're going to do it again in 2026. But those are the ones that's going to be inducted. Now in 2026, we'll have some more that will be inducted. But right now, these are the ones that's going to be inducted. So as I close out, remember, put that on your calendar on the 27th of July. And like you said, it started at 12.
12 noon.
And then at 2 o'clock, what we're going to do, Terrence. Let the DJ take a break, and we're gonna bring in all the inductees from the 62 and 65 classes. That's gonna be going into the Jack Yates Football Hall of Fame that we're trying to produce here at Jack Yates.
Correct.
You know, and it will be on the alumni of Jack Yates Fabulous Pictures. It'll be in every page that we have with Jack Yates, which includes the Fabulous Pictures, Jack Yates Men's, Jack Yates Men, Jack Yates Men's 2, and also remember 3rd Ward and Jack Yates, and the Jack Yates Fabulous 50s. This will all be in YouTube and Google. So it will be here for as long as they got computers. And they're gonna have computers just as long as they got automobiles and televisions and cell phones. They ain't going nowhere. So Terrence, I'm gonna close it out, and I want you, we're doing something special because I want to make sure that everybody see the fabulous work that your company is doing, not only for Jack Yates, but for other schools that might want to participate. But right now, we with Jack Yates.
That's correct.
So, thank you, Terrence.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. It's a pleasure.
And I will see you guys
July 27th, Adair Park, starting at 12 noon. Be there, be square. One love.